Mali, and of course, it is not a joke. It is not a joke. 800,000 dollars just got bent. The money just got set ablaze by these stubborn and wayward terrorists. Mali has actually been in attack today. Yes, and let me actually analyze everything here so that you can better understand, what just was happened. Don't worry, you will have the clip to watch and understand everything. Okay. Thank you so much. If I actually happen to be, a patriotic and a regular member of this community, God bless you so much for being part. Okay, I really appreciate your incredible support for this particular community to grow. Okay, thank you so much. God bless you. Okay, if you're actually signing in for the first time, please don't forget to actually like this particular live stream and leave your comment concerning where you actually located now and subscribe most importantly to stay connected always for news like this. Okay, now I have an official development which just hit the country of Mali, ladies and gentlemen. Now it has actually caused a serious destruction to the country of Mali. Yes, 800,000 dollars, facility, okay, has actually been bent, and this facility is not an ordinary facility. It happened to be an economic structure that was actually set ablaze. And trust me, according to official updates, ladies and gentlemen, now the structure was launched with an amount of $800,000 in money, in Mali, due to as a result of the revolutionary leader over there in the country. Okay, so now I wish I can actually show you everything here. You can see everything here, but don't worry. I'm going to actually have the link for you in this particular live video description. Just check at the description, and you're going to be directed to the short that have actually was uploaded here. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, now this is how strategically that the colon. Okay, I don't actually want to mention what certain ways here, but this is a strategic ways that the enemies of Africa, most especially the enemies of Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, for short AES. This is a strategic way that they're actually using to attack them. Mali has actually been dangling under a serious threats and attacks from the side of a terrorists for so long. And of course, guess what? This is what we call a proxy war, an intermediate war, which simply means that these people were actually hired to come and fight the alliance of Sahel states, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. But Africa, you can actually just give someone money and the person will do the dirtiest job that you actually want the person to do, and rather enrich you. Yes, I mean enrich themselves. And these people, they will just ignore them. So this particular facility, okay, this facility, those of you who actually was not watching, you can see the facility. Can you see it? This is the facility. This facility, some terrorists, okay? Okay, see. Just see. This is the facility. Can you see it? Yes, this is it. So this particular facility was actually, set ablaze by terrorists. And the terrorists are actually from 100, according to the legal report, from 150 terrorists to 200 terrorists, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, they actually attack the country. And now, recently, I mean, last year, just somewhere in November, the finance minister for Mali, he came out and he said that Mali is actually facing a lot of proxy wars. Proxy wars, which simply means that the black army that the enemies of Africa actually created or established. In other words, terms, the extremist groups or the terrorists, they actually fighting against Mali in order to actually stifle or suffocate the country economically. That is why this particular economic infrastructure, these people have actually attacked it. Those of you who actually want to view it clearly, please, I'm going to leave the videos was linked in this live stream. Okay, so just check at the comment section, and of course we're going to be directed to the right video so that you can actually watch the full video to better understand what they actually did. Okay, so I wish I can actually read this one, but it is actually in okay, new terrorist attacks in Mali. Let me read the news for to you. On January 11th, armed terrorist groups carried out attacks on 3 industrial facilities in western Mali. According to the media report, 150 to 200 militants on motorcycles. You know that they always want to move to different places using motorcycles. They cannot actually use car. Even motorcycles happen to be the easiest was an option for them, so that they can actually was penetrate any a way or any place that they actually want to go and do the dirtiest job for their masters or whoever actually sends them. So according to what reports, he says that experts believe that attacks are aimed at what undermining economic infrastructure. Yes, because of the revolution that we actually have in the Sahel states. Okay, Mali is actually what these people actually doing this to make sure that they undermine the country what economically by targeting their infrastructure. Yes, targeting their infrastructure, because this particular facility that they actually was not buying it today, it was 800,000 dollars. I mean, that is the amount of money they actually was going to use it, to launch it. And these people just was not buying it. So in other ways, they have actually bent 800,000 dollars. Instead was money that they have actually used to raise this. Okay, so among the targeted site was the stones was among the targeted site was the stones factory and Bafula Bay, which specializes in the production of tiles and lime. This and lime. Okay, so this marks the second attack on the facility following an arson attack in July 2025. So this is the second time that this particular facility has actually been attacked. Let me tell you something. Look, Mali, these people have actually targeted with Mali because they want to be able to defeat with Mali. After they actually defeat Mali, now they will make sure that they will split it into four different parts. Now, in last year, I have actually was explained this in my one of my previous videos, that they said that they want to make sure that according to a leaked information, they want to make sure that they subdue with Mali completely. And after doing that, now they will split it into four different parts, and these four different parts, now terrorists are going to make sure that they rule those with no part of Mali, so that they could actually simply extend themselves to Niger and Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, these countries happen to be the target of those masters. I don't actually want to mention names here. You guys want to know them. They actually was happen to be the target. So they want to attack Mali, so that if they are able to subdue or to overcome the country completely, then terrorists will actually Islamic or terrorists will actually want to control those areas, so that they can actually go on to extend their operations in Burkina Faso and Niger, so that they can simply undermine the revolution that we have in the Sahel state, ladies and gentlemen. So they actually want to make sure that the economical status of the country, they undermine it economically. They are going to suffocate the country. They're going to bring the country down, so that the country so they can actually use other means and norms to make sure that they attack like what just what happened in Venezuela. But trust me, because of Russia, this cannot actually happen. They cannot just enter you know, Mali, Burkina Faso, or in the Sahel state and just take or seize anything that they actually want. Ladies and gentlemen, this is something. This is a proxy war that we actually was not fighting. And the biggest issue that I actually have with these people, these black people who have actually been hired to do this for their masters, is that you have this particular skin, your own land, your own soil, and you're joking this way. Go to America. The moment Donald Trump actually became president, look at the number of people, thousands of people, hundreds of Africans were actually deported. We went there in search of a greener pasture. You understand me? We went there in search of a greener pasture, but these people actually was not sent us to home. So this happened to be your home. Africa is your home. So when someone, a particular leader, actually asks you, hired was you to go and do something against your brother, ladies and gentlemen, just have it at the back of your mind that that particular person actually want to undermine your ability to succeed and live a sovereign life in the future. And they actually don't want Africa to progress. But this can actually wasn't happen as a result of our patriotic or non-patriotic decisions that we're going to take. So I always say that, look, we have the deadliest weapons with the most powerful states like United States of America, Russia, China, and other countries like that. They have the deadliest weapons, but the deadliest weapon that Africa we can actually have to protect ourselves, so that we can utilize whatever God has actually entrusted to us to enrich ourselves, is unity. Once we actually become united and unified with our people, ladies and gentlemen, things like this won't happen because the people that they're actually using, in other words, their tools or their terrorists, okay, that they're actually using to fight our sovereignty every single day, will definitely stop once we actually become one. So they don't actually want Africa to become one because that is the deadliest weapon ever that we can actually use against them. Nobody can actually go, no African state with a leader can actually go to Europe, America, and deceive an ordinary American to rise against their government or their leader or to do something against their nation. Immediately you're going to be rounded up. Immediately you're going to be apprehended by the police. And of course, justice is going to be served against you and in favor of the country. So in this way, now it means Africa is home for you forever. You cannot actually go to someone's land and own it. You can't do that. They always want to own ours. But we have to make sure that we think like human beings and do the best to enrich ourselves, to enrich the continent of West Africa, and stop allowing them to create a proxy war against the motherland of Africa, ladies and gentlemen. So this development, I call it a catastrophic incident or development which just hit the country. And this happened to be the second time from 150 to 200 different terrorists. These people are Islamic terrorists. They are fighting the nation of Mali, trying to undermine the country economically, trying to undermine the country in terms of infrastructure, ladies and gentlemen. So this is the bad news. That's actually just dropped today from Mali, and we have to keep on praying for them. And recently, I also shared it where Burkina Faso, they actually attacked Captain Ibrahim Traore. They just wanted to make sure that they overthrew the man, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what? They used the ordinary people. They used the people within, even let's say that the regime, some people from the regime and some people to without or outside the regime against Captain Ibrahim Traore. And trust me, I don't actually call it this way, like, because when you actually rise against a leader, for instance, if I actually rise against Donald Trump, I'm not actually rising against him. I am rising against the people of America because Donald Trump happens to be, the representative to the state, right? So rising against Captain Ibrahim Traore, despite the good works and the most impeccable services and whatever this man is actually giving to the country. If I actually rise against him, it is yourself that you are rising against. You are rising against the future of your descendants. You are rising against your own motherland. And of course, when you go somewhere to in search of a greener pasture, and they sent you like Donald Trump doing to some African states and other people from some part of the world, don't blame him. He's actually doing the best for his country. The best that we can also do for the continent of Africa is to make sure that we actually understand the sovereignty sources of our continent. Yes, and what is the source? What is the origin of this sovereignty that we are talking about today, ladies and gentlemen? That is what to come together. That is to become compatible with our leaders. Revolutionary leaders who actually want us to get sovereignty, total sovereignty. So we should be compatible with them. We should be agreeable towards those people, so that the steps that these people actually will take in to make sure that they bring us with economic sovereignty, independence in terms of other terms, we can actually succeed massively. And Burkina Faso, those people that they actually hired to rise against the government of Captain Ibrahim Traore, guess what? They give them peanuts or chicken changes. Chicken changes, just small money that could not even enrich their families. Yes, they give them chicken with changes, small amount of money, and these people wanted to overthrow a whole government. Captain Ibrahim Traore, who is actually enriching the life of Burkina Faso, who is actually intensifying the sovereignty of Burkina Faso. And maybe you'll be wondering the reason why Captain Ibrahim Traore always be their main target, their biggest target. Let me remind you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the revolutionary development that we actually have in Africa, most especially in West Africa or within the AES bloc, Captain Ibrahim Traore or Burkina Faso happened to be the most progressive, yes, the most progressive revolution that we actually have. And you know that this guy is very energetic. And because of this guy, he has actually opened more African youth, our eyes. And what we are willing to see every day is to see coup d'etat happening against Western puppets, or some nations, some leaders who are still serving the needs of their colonial masters or whatever. So, ladies and gentlemen, look, they actually want to target this man and make sure that he is removed or ousted from power. And once this actually was not happen, then they can simply go ahead and then restore another puppet who will simply saves their contradicted needs. So this just was not happened. And let's keep on praying for the Sahel state, because look, since they actually established was ECOWAS and also established African Union, the question that we have to actually ask yourself is that what have they actually added? What value have they actually added to African life? What have they actually added? What have they actually established so far to impact lives in the continent of Africa positively? Nothing. I don't actually see anything that these people have actually done. But the AES of block or community, look, they actually launched their radio station. Secondly, they have actually recently launched, okay, they have launched their television channel, and they actually did this purposely, just to fight misinformation, and also to promote their own narratives. Yes, to promote their own narratives. Africa, we have actually been promoting these people, their narratives, from in many forms and in many ways for a very long time. So now Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, in for sure the AES will state he established was this development to make sure that their narratives, their culture will also get promoted. Yes, we can actually justify the fact that the culture of Africa, because of Christianity and other stuff that we have actually inherited from the colonial masters, ladies and gentlemen, we can actually testify the fact that our narratives is actually slipping away. Our culture, our norms, our practices, many have actually almost been evaporated. So these people championing and promoting their culture, their narratives is one of the best way for us to also get a traditional, a cultural, and other sovereignty as was an Africans, ladies and gentlemen. Now, aside that, they also want to make sure that disinformation, misinformation, or falsehood, they fight it significantly. Before this, powerful Western countries, before they can actually attack your country and make sure that like what actually happened to the Venezuelan president recently, ladies and gentlemen. Now they can actually charge you with some issues that are not actually practical, true or literal. And due to that, they can actually seize you or remove you from power. So now the radio station is meant for that, or the television channel that the AES blog have actually established is also what's meant for them to fight any disinformation, so that the world or the public will definitely know what's actually happening within the AES blog. Ladies and gentlemen, so I beg that anytime you actually go to your base, make sure that you remember Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, for short, the AES blog. Remember them in your prayers so that they can actually keep on succeeding every single day. And also extend your prayers to any other African state that you also want to involve in this revolutionary journey. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining this live stream. I respect you so much. God bless you so much. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. See you in the next live stream like this. Bye bye.